Hey traders, Raghee here, and this is your free TradeForexFutures.com video for tonight. We're taking a look at the dollar because we're getting some talk out of Fed member Lacker, who is a hawk, has always been a hawk, and there's a lot of talk about he's worried that the Fed won't raise rates soon enough, that the emerging markets will grow faster than the U.S., and he's gone so far as to say that he sees the first interest rate hikes in early 2015. Now, let's take a look at the 5-minute chart and the kind of movement we've seen here in the dollar. You take a look at what's been happening in the dollar, and we're obviously buoyed back above the 80 level. Some of this is going to be the Ukraine, if you want to call it the Ukraine premium, the flight to safety, and we could see some of that. We factored into the market the weakness yesterday in the equities markets, which turned into strength in, say, the yen. This is the JY futures contract. We saw a little bit of that strength in the yen in terms of yesterday. Here's the price action moving up higher, topping out at 98.80 on the JY futures contract. But here we are selling off today because ultimately the Dow went ahead and moved back higher. Now, I don't want to say we're out of the woods. In fact, this is kind of typical geopolitical type discounting where the threat of military action, the market will sell off, and then the lack of military action, we will see the market rally. And I think everyone thinks that Putin has basically put the gun back in the holster. However, don't think this is wide open spaces and blue skies for the Dow, because take away all that Ukrainian discount, all that discounting, the fear premium, and ultimately we still have a very slippery slope between 16.4 and 16.5. And this is why, for the most part, in the chat room, I have continued to want to sidestep what's been happening in the risk environment regarding the euro, the dollar, the yen, the Dow, bonds, even crude to a certain extent. I don't want to engage those markets quite yet. Now, between now and Friday, it's a very interesting economic calendar. We're going to continue to see a lot more central bank activity. We had the RBA yesterday, which was more or less a non-starter. Our recent position in the Aussie loonie, that was one of our more recent positions, is doing just fine. We're actually finally getting some escape velocity. I kind of borrowed that word from Mark Carney. I love that. We're getting some escape velocity from our buy zone here to the upside, which has been really nice follow through. And based on the yen strength yesterday, we had really good follow through, hit another profit target, which we've been flirting with for some time. Just fell short of the 91.05, but this trade is well within the worst case scenario being an exit with a profit, because we've been ratcheting this particular trade now through two non-negotiable finish line exits, one optional. Our capital, meaning our trading capital, is no longer at risk at all. It's all what we call house money. It's all profit. Now, what we're risking, there is a risk. What we are risking is unrealized profits. But again, both the loonie yen and the Aussie loonie, two of our recent entries, are doing just fine. Now, there are some events that could add some volatility. Starting tonight, we've got the GDP out of Australia. We have the retail sales trade balance. But before I get there, we have this huge hurdle here by way of the BOC rate statement and the overnight rate. We're going to talk about that at length in tomorrow's chat. So what's great about this 10 a.m. report is ultimately this. We have the entire 2 hours of our chat to look at price movement ranges, look at which pairs have proximity, where we could re-enter, and in those positions that we're managing for really nice profits, of course, say something like the loonie yen, not loonie yen, the pound loonie comes to mind, the euro loonie, even the dollar loonie. I'm going to look for opportunities to perhaps get back into those positions and or potentially realize some profits if we get just immediate loonie weakness. It's the loonie strength that could give us an opportunity, but the loonie weakness that's ultimately going to be what makes the trade work. So we'll look at both sides of those trades tomorrow. In the chat room, I'll also discuss the watch list for tonight and for tomorrow's BOC event in the premium video. Members, I'll see you there. Have a terrific evening.